I'm very happy that my daughters Bristol and Willow are here today too. Thank you so much. Have a seat. And I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here in this beautiful crowd of constitutional conservative young women who are the future of this country. Y'all look so hip. You look so not that I've been hanging out with a bunch of old men lately. It's really nice and refreshing to get to be here. Truly, I am thrilled. And for this wonderful institute, as they have done all that they can and will work tirelessly in the future to make sure that you guys are inspired and that you are equipped and feel empowered to change the world. This world needs changing for the better, and truly, it is you young women who hold the key to which direction, which door our country's going to go through. You hold the key, and people will be looking to you to lead in the very near future. I am very grateful to get to be here today with this beautiful group of conservative women. And I know it's not easy, especially it can't be easy for some of you all on your college campuses where perhaps some of you feel a bit ostracized or marginalized because of perhaps traditional beliefs. Beliefs that certainly aren't foreign to me or Kate or others. You know, they're traditional American values. They are what America was built upon and what made America strong and prosperous and the freest and most voluntarily generous nation in the entire world. It's those beliefs that you hold that, oddly enough, you're criticized for holding, and yet those beliefs are what our foundation is and why we have to strengthen that foundation if we want to head in the right direction. Certainly, as was sort of alluded to there in the introduction, the media will give you a hard time about those beliefs, but I just want to encourage you to stay strong. Know that it's worth it. Know that everything you may go through in your jobs, in your school careers, in everything that you're working on right now, if you are mocked and belittled and ridiculed for having conservative beliefs, please make sure that your spine is stiffened, and look around you and you will see that other spines will be stiffened as yours is, and it will be worth it. Your good, positive efforts to affect the change that this country needs, it will be worth it. At the end of the day, you're going to be able to say that ridicule, that mocking, all that, it really is for naught if you know internally what your right priorities are, where God is leading you, making sure that your faith is strong. All the other stuff out there on the periphery certainly will just fade away. I know that personally people have asked me, oh, how do you deal with the criticisms? How do you, Kate probably gets some of it too, you know, how do you deal with the mocking up on a national or an international stage about what it is that you believe in? And for me, you know, it's an easy answer because my priorities are my faith, my family, my freedom as an American, and I will keep working very hard to strengthen each of those aspects of my life. But for me too, I have some real tangible ways, I think, that kind of manifest the answer that I'm going to give these people anyway as to how I deal with it, how I put up with it. I have Trig. I have my youngest child who was born with special needs. We know now, after going through some struggle, some challenge, in trying to figure out, will our hearts be ready to embrace this gift that God will give us? We know now that literally Trig is a gift to us. Trig shows us what truly matters in this world, and it's not the world's standards of perfection. It's God's standards. I have, you know, my day-to-day reminders. My beautiful daughter Bristol standing here, who people cringe as I even mention it, but because my kids, doggone it, they don't like the spotlight, but I tell them, I'm sorry, you got it anyway, whether you like it or not. But Bristol being a reminder of taking personal responsibility for an action action that perhaps you wish would have happened a decade later, but it happened, life happens. She keeping her baby, the most beautiful little child in the world. Trip Easton is a gorgeous child, a wonderful blessing. Bristol did the right thing and taking personal responsibility, not asking anybody else to deal with her problems for her. She deals with it. She succeeds. She works extremely hard. She's another reminder of the priorities that God has allowed me to have that make things worth it for me. My son, my 22-year-old son, who a combat vet who spent his year in Iraq and giving me a different perspective on foreign policy, and then he's headed back over. They're sending him back over to Afghanistan here, and I think, wow, God, these things that perhaps we look at as being, well, we have a choice in how we're going to look at them. A burden and a challenge. Are we going to feel like a victim? Or are we going to feel like a victor, victorious through what it is that we are given? We have a choice in how we're going to look at the circumstances around us. I look at my son and I think, well, I'm not going to look at this as another fearful year. I'm going to look at it as another opportunity that God has given our family to show maybe other young men what a good choice can be made in choosing to serve something greater than self. Examples, just with 3 kids. Got 5 of them. It's a good thing I don't have a dozen, or I'd be going on all day. Examples, but that's what family provides you too, is opportunity. What I learned too is, Plato said, be nice to everyone, because everyone is going through some kind of struggle. Everyone has a battle. Oh my goodness, that's what I find. Perhaps our battles, our struggles, well, maybe they're a little bit different than yours in that sometimes they're played out on the front page of the National Enquirer. We don't like that. But I know that you all, every family goes through struggles, has challenges. And I relate to you, and I empathize and I sympathize, but I also don't feel sorry for you, and I don't want you to feel sorry for me. So that gets us back to, who cares what people are going to say about constitutional conservatives in the media, the lamestream media? Then no matter what we do, they're not going to like it. We could walk across Wasilla Lake and they could say instead, oh, she walks on water, oh, she's dripping oil off her shoes. It doesn't matter what we do, what we accomplish. Do not look externally, especially to them, the media, or to the left, for your encouragement, for your empowerment, for your internal fortification. Look to your faith in God. Look to your family, to those whom you can trust, who really do have your best interests at heart. Look to them, and look to just that foundation of America. Look to who it was, our forefathers, our foremothers, who were willing to sacrifice all in order to build this great country. That's where you can look to get that empowerment and that encouragement. Don't pay no mind to what the rest of the world says about conservatives and our beliefs. And I know that much of this institute, that's what it stands for. You know, Claire was a credit to her country, to her culture, to her faith, and to the cause of the conservative movement. Any one of her careers would have made her remarkable, but taken together, she was really outstanding and astounding. In introducing her for a segment on Firing Line, William F. Buckley, he described her by saying, she's been elected to Congress, she's edited magazines, written best-selling Broadway plays, she's administered a huge American embassy in Italy, she's written books, painted paintings, weaved tapestries, created mosaics, and on, a living proof of the great lengths to which Providence can go to make this point about inequality. Yes, because she was so set apart, set aside, because of her work ethic, because of her drive, her commitment to making things better. Few of us could ever hope to aspire to be her example, but she is a reminder of what our role as American women must be in this world that needs women like you. A very tumultuous world, a world full of questions, a world that, especially in our country, a culture that provides confusion, not answers, but confusion to our young people about what is right, what is wrong. I read recently a nice take on what's going on in our country right now, where as we approach the end of the primary nominees process and then we head into the general, this is a moment in history when the door for massive change is going to swing wide open in our country. And a vacuum then is created when that door opens. We have to ask ourselves, will that vacuum be filled with a revolution for good or for evil? We have a choice, and it's very, very clear. We are at a tipping point, which direction our country's going to go. As the door swings open, which direction will we go? You young women, you are the patriots who must be willing to risk all, just as our forefathers and our foremothers did, to defend our republic. We've got to fill that vacuum with real hope and right priorities. We've got to be good examples. And again, we've got to dismiss what others may say about us out there on the periphery. We have to stay very committed, and we have to stay very solid within when it comes to living out these right priorities and those things that are so important to most Americans. You are the key for this hour. And, you know, I look around and I say, if not us, then who? When we talk about issues of life, I think if we don't stand up for the unborn, if we don't stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves, if not us, then who? And all of our other rights, that right to life, yes, but our Second Amendment rights, our right to have our freedom of religion, if we're not willing to stand up and fight for those things in America, then who will? So the woman honored in this institute, she, remember, was such a defender of her faith. She was a defender of her faith back when there was a time, and there certainly is a time now, when faith everywhere is kind of sneered at in our culture. She was a stalwart, cold warrior, and promoter of freedom at a time when the soft appeasement of détente was the language of diplomacy. And she was a fiscal conservative when big government was really in style, and that, at that time, put us on this long road towards bankruptcy. She was a wife and a mother, and she once said, "Women know that what man has long forgotten, that the ultimate economic and spiritual unit of any civilization is still the family." She knew that that unit was the bedrock, the foundation of our country. She stood on principle, and history has proven her right. She was, in short, an all-American woman, strong, proud, free, courageous, like our great American foremothers. Our founding father, John Adams, believed that a nation's character was defined and guarded by its women. He wrote, "For all that I had read of history, of government, of life and manners, I had drawn this conclusion, that the manners of women were the surest criterion by which to determine whether a Republican government is practicable." Why? Because he observed that great nations lost their public servant and their public spirit, their Republican principles and their habits, and their Republican forms of government when they lost those virtues in their women. We can't lose that. That is why meeting groups like this, young, strong, conservative women who are bold, you all here today, it does truly, it gives me hope for our future. Our nation's future is in your capable hands. And I'm very grateful for the work this institute does in encouraging and educating the next generation of common sense conservative women. You are nurturing the next generation, the future Mama Grizzlies, and our nation will rely on you. So God bless you. God bless